Because at the very least it's been shown clear to me again that I'm cycling through the same pattern. And I understand that life moves in this spiraling way where similar things, like on the spiral, when you get to that spot in the next level, that it's like similar lessons you have to learn to get to the next spot or something. I don't even know if that's really what it's like. Sometimes it just feels that way. Like you're spiraling up or you're spiraling down. And either way, you're learning lessons through cycles about particular things. But this particular lesson is just so recurring, and I'm just so tired of repeating it, and I guess I need to talk it out because I don't know why I'm still stuck in this cycle of desperately just wanting to be understood and then not being. I recognize that there's a gap between meaning and understanding because we're all individuals and because we're all having unique experiences. Like nobody else can hold your perspective because of who you are and all the experience you've had and all the things you've had and yada yada yada. We've been over this stuff. I know that. But that's tricky when you're trying to communicate or be understood or understand and there's a breakdown. And I've always been an odd communicator anyway, and I know this about myself. So I haven't had to, but it seems that I've learned over time that I need to preempt relationships, to tell friends or lovers or family, like, if I'm doing something that bothers you, you have to tell me, because I don't get passive aggressive stuff, I don't get subtle communications, and I want to know. Like if I'm doing something that hurts you, gosh, that's not what I want. That's never been my intention. But if I don't know that I'm hurting you, if you don't communicate that, then I'm powerless. There's nothing I can do until I know. So I feel like I go to great lengths to tell people what I'm about and all the things that I know about myself because I've lived my life, to know what my triggers are or to know how I'm going to react to certain situations. And I go, I'm sorry, but I'm a weirdo and it's going to happen sometimes. And everybody's always like, no, you're so cool and you're fine and you're, all these. And I'm like, okay, but you're putting me on a really tall horse and I'm going to fall eventually. I'm just trying to soften the landing for everybody. And this has been repeated in, I feel like, family situations and work situations and relationships and friendships, that I try to say, hey, this is who I am, this is how I be, I'm doing the best I can. This chapter of my life right now has been a lot about accepting myself for the way that I am, acknowledging how far I've come, and knowing that I have a lot further to go, but being okay with where I am right now. But it's when I feel like I get most comfortable around people that's when this pattern will repeat. Once I'm really comfortable and I feel like I've let my guard down, that's when something will happen and I'll be misunderstood and misrepresented, and then it just gets out of control so quickly. And it's happened before, and it usually ends up with me being like, okay, well, I'll give you all the space, and I know that that's not always the solution either, and I know that that's a pattern that I'm repeating. But I just want to learn the lesson and move on. I want to not feel like I have to start every interaction I have with a new person by saying hi, eventually you're going to get sick of me and I'm sorry because I can't help it, but I hope that, I don't know, the good parts of me outweigh the bad and it's worth it in the long run for you. My goal is to help and to be a helper, but sometimes the harder I try to help, the stickier I make things unintentionally. And so I know that they say that the path to hell is paved with good intentions. But all I've ever had is good intentions and just giving it my best, I fall short a lot at that part, but my intention has always been pure. But that's hard to communicate, I talk so much about belief, and that's been such a big part of my life recently, and then, I just have to, I guess I've always just known that people would take me at my word, that I've come across as a real and authentic person, and that I'm honest, and that what I say is, I mean what you say and say what you mean, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind, which is a Dr. Seuss quote, I know, but the idea that anybody's only taking anybody else on their word ever is, I don't know, there's a chasm there that seems uncrossable, that we're always trying to cross with words or art or music, bridge the gap between us. But sometimes it's easier said than done. And then with everybody just repeating patterns from all the reading I've been doing, which is like set in you before you're 3 years old, like that's been coming up in a lot of books, that like all the patterns you're playing out, you had concreted in your cells before you were 3, before you could talk. And that's crazy to me, like thinking back on the childhood that I do remember, but like, nope, all these patterns that you're repeating that were given to you by your parents, you picked up before you can remember. And so but I don't know if that's it's the point of living life, to solve the puzzle, to figure out how to be the best person, or is it just to enjoy it and try not to hurt people along the way? But gosh, I'm tired of making the same mistake. Like can't even really put it into words. I guess I'm trying here, but to know where I'm going wrong and trying to preempt my interactions by letting people know that I'm a weirdo and I can't help it, and I'm the best me that I've ever been, but that's still flawed and I still mess up a lot, but that's everybody, I think. Had a conversation in the hallway, you're such cool people, we're such cool people, all just going like, oh, we're messes, like, but you're cool. Like, I suck, but you're awesome. Like, no, we're all reflections, we're all awesome. But we're all telling these old stories. And like, I admit that like, this tough time has, been shown to me that like, that I may be perpetuating my own problems by telling myself old stories, by excusing myself by saying, well, I deal with depression, or I have bipolar, and so, that's why. But when we look at the law of attraction, or we look at all of these things that were coming to light, then the stories that we're telling ourselves and the things we're thinking, even though I think that I'm explaining myself, it's like an old explanation that I don't have to be that person anymore if I can just stop feeling like I have to go back to that safety net of, well, let me explain to you how broken I am so that you can not be hurt when I'm sharp, because the hot glue doesn't cover all the edges. But unless you've known someone a long time, it just takes time to like explain all those nuances of who people are and why, And I deal with these things, but gosh, I know there's people that have it worse. Like, how do they have relationships? Like, if you're someone who's really been, really had a much tougher life than I have, like, how does that? I don't know. So I also recognize that all relationships, be them friendships or families or anything, like we come together to help each other grow, and that's not always going to be comfortable, but it's necessary, because if we were comfortable, we would never change. So, in a time of global change and interpersonal change, I know that part of my part is part of that. But gosh, I wish I could get better at it like today so that I can stop having to explain myself all the time. I think in the past I would have just like shut down and been like, well, I'm just not gonna say anything ever. But that's an old story too, and I don't want to tell that. Like I don't want to stick back into old ways just because they're comfortable, even when they're not. I know depression is easier, and so, and I think I told someone the other day, and they said, oh, I had no idea that you had dealt with depression. And I said, well, because I've gotten really good at taking care of myself, but that is, takes a lot of energy, and so sometimes I can't. I'm aware of the fact that I'm like running on full steam until I just break down, and I know that that's not how I should be doing it. I know I need to figure out a different way to take care of myself and also contribute to society and the things that I believe in and care about. I'm finding my ways as fast as I can. I'm doing my best, and I just have to hope and trust that, I don't know, the more I believe in me, the more believable I am. But that's not right. It's more that I just want to be understood. But I don't think I'm the only one. I think that's a thing that people want. There's endless words to try, and trust me, I've tried a lot of them. I don't know how effective that technique is, so in the meantime, I'm going to try my best and remember to breathe and drink lots of water, because that's about all I got at this point. Just breathe and drink lots of water. Go to the woods more often if I need to. So anyway, my goal going forward now is just to figure out, like I know, thankfully I have friends who remind me, when I need it, that I have the tools that I need at my disposal. I just need to be better about proactively using them again. Even on days when I'm tired and emotionally drained and it's hard. Because not only do I owe it to the people around me, I mean, not really, but it would be nice for the people around me, but I do owe it to myself to give happiness my all, my best shot. Because I just don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again with different people. I want to learn my lessons and move on and grow. Because at the end of the day, I mean, if we're just a reflection of life, that's what life is doing, it's growing. I know I'm growing too, and for better or for worse, I'm glad I get to grow all with you. I have to remember, even on what seemed like my bad days, I had a student make me a plaque that I really like that said, one day you'll forget about this pain that you thought was going to last forever and ever. And that reminds me how far that I've come. And also reminds me how much I've grown. It makes me thankful that I'm still here and I'm still trying. For better or for worse, sometimes life sucks. And being a person is difficult. But it is super duper interesting. And overall enjoyable, I think. It's certainly all of it, and I'm a lot of that too. And I still look forward to, I'm 30 now, I'm still looking forward to growing up. Just so that I can but is there an end? I talked to a bunch of girls today at a high school, and I'm like, nobody ever stops learning, ever. Someone said, well, we're just we're in our 30s, and they were like, well, we're just babies, one day we'll be grown up. And I was like, yeah, but I know 70-year-olds who are intellectual giants with emotional children, so do you? Or are we all doing it collectively? Are we all the same age because we're made of the same stuff, and it doesn't matter if you're 70 or 7, we're all growing as fast as we can? But that gets into astrology and whatnot, and planets and stuff. And Sometimes it's like, why? I wish I was a person who could just enjoy this existence and not think too much about it, but it's never been my lot in life. Just like, but the universe and all of it, all the time. I'm getting better at not being overwhelmed, but I don't think I'm getting better at handling when I do get overwhelmed. It's almost like before it was all the time, so it got okay, like it got easier. And so now that I'm happy most of the time, when I get overwhelmed again, it's like a harder time. Just bouncing back to baseline. Goodness gracious. I know I've been so positive recently. I'm sorry this is sad, sacky. I just appreciate the opportunity to work this out in a place that I feel comfortable on stage, ironically. And look how far I've come with that. That did not used to be so. One of these days I'll get better at coming up here and singing songs. I haven't gotten there yet. One day, when I'm old and mature, we'll get there together. I hope. Okay. I'll stop talking at you now. I love you guys. Thank you for listening.